I've been watching the Republican National Convention for the past couple of days, and this is in the wake of the attempt on Donald Trump's life. I find it amazing how people are refusing to believe what their eyes are showing them. And specifically, I'm talking about the fact that after the man was almost assassinated, he had the wherewithal, number one, first of all, not to freak out, not to panic, but to, first of all, say, where are my shoes? You see, which shows me how cool, calm, and collective this cat is. And I'm talking about Donald Trump. And another thing, as soon as he stood up, he realized that it was important for him to let the people who follow him and respect him and who love him, to let them know that he was fine. And so he got up in the air after being shot, after being grazed along the side of his head, ear, and stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. I'm going to tell you something. And I talk about this in my books. I explain to people, I say, you never know who a person is until, number one, they think you need them, or when they're under fear or under pressure, well, they're afraid. That's when the truth comes out. That's how you know who's real and who's not, when they're under pressure. Now, there's really nothing more traumatic to a person than almost losing your life. Some of you all, you hear gunshots, you traumatized for years to come. Some of y'all are still talking about fights that you've been involved in as kids. This man was shot. This man was standing up on the podium, talking, surrounded by security, surrounded by thousands of people, and somebody was still able to get a shot off at him. Imagine the sort of trauma that will lead to. This is a man who's lived a privileged life, who's a billionaire, who's a grandfather. And you can never be prepared for that. But oftentimes people who grew up in these sort of environments when they used to getting shot at, when they used to having people pulling guns on them, they might be a little bit more accustomed to it. Myself, for instance. But with somebody who's dealt with that, who's not dealt with that on a normal basis, on a regular basis, the fact that he can get up and fist bump and he has the wherewithal, that lets you know that man is made differently than what y'all thought he was. See, y'all wanted to put him as some sort of blowhard, incompetent, and little did you know this man is actually got heart. Because I know a lot of people from the hood. I know a lot of people who you would say are hardcore, and they don't recover like that. They don't have the wherewithal to do that. They got to go sit down and smoke some dro, smoke some of that, roll up some funny cigarettes. They got to calm down. The first thing he did was jump back and said, fight, fight, fight. You got to respect that. See, a lot of y'all want to hate people in order to disagree with them. And let's dig into the psychology of that. A lot of people, you can't argue with the logic. And so in order for you not to like a person or to dislike their ideas or what they're doing or what they stand for, you find a reason to hate this man. And I get that a lot of time from you all. A lot of you all like to say stuff like just making up stuff out the blue. Some of y'all, back in the day, y'all say he's had 3 wives. In the record show, I've only been married once. I got kids all over the place. So some of these things that you all have come up with are just straight up lies. But you do that because you want to be able to not like what I'm saying, even though what I'm telling you guys is for the most part the same stuff. It's the same stuff that anybody with any wisdom would tell you. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same stuff. I'm not telling you any different than what your grandparents, your fathers, your mothers, and any other person who wants to see you do well do. Get yourself under control yourself, get the best education you can, act like a decent human being in public, carry yourself with some dignity and some respect, and people have a problem with that. And so instead of accepting what I'm saying for what it is, just the truth, y'all want to find reasons to get mad at me. You see? And I'm not unlike Donald Trump. I'm not like a lot of other black men in the black community who stand for something. You want to find reasons to get mad, do it to each other all the time. That's why they mad at Donald Trump. They see that man as a father figure who was strict, who held them to some certain standards, and so they want to find every reason why they can to vilify him so that they don't have to listen to what he has to say. That's what you see going on. That's what white America, Donald Trump is that daddy, that granddaddy that held them to some standards, and they don't like it. A lot of black men who stand for something, you don't like what they have to say because there's just been a rebellion against manhood, especially firm, strong men who stand for something, because it forces it holds, because that sort of authority holds you to some standards, and it calls you out, and it doesn't care what you say. It doesn't care how much shame and guilt you try. Because for the most part, real men, real strong men who stand on what they believe, they don't care what you say. They're gonna go with what they're gonna go with that, what their integrity says. They're gonna go with what their standards require. They don't really care what women think. And that in itself is considered toxic masculinity. Because I don't care that you as a woman, or you from a feminine perspective, want me to raise my children in a certain way, and I say no. We're going to have some standards. That's called, because I'm unyielding, because I have a standard, because I have a line that you can't cross, because I have barriers and boundaries that I won't let people invade without punishment. I'm a bad guy. I'll be that. Somebody type embrace the bad guy in the chat room. I'm the bad guy. On the internet, on YouTube, I'm the bad guy. And the reason is what it is. And people don't have to like it. You don't have to like what I have to say, but what's the point in vilifying me, or vilifying Donald Trump, or vilifying other men who speak to, or even women